One of probably the biggest benefits is the slowing down. It's just a different way to engage the text. You're not doing your sprint reading of the day. The retention rate, which you mentioned, is huge. We talk about a little bit with this. If I'm a visual learner, I'm going to retain a certain percentage, and I mean, just for physically writing it out, some of the stats up there say that it takes you from 5, 10, 15% if you hear somebody say something, and you're up to 50, 60, 70% if you hand write it.
You've used the word legacy before.
Yeah, legacy. Legacy is one of the things that we just start kicking around. With our group, we started asking, and I started really asking it myself. I have a grandfather who came over from the Netherlands, who became a believer here while living in the States, was a believer later in life, and now I'm part of this heritage, and I have this, but I have nothing. I have nothing that tells me about his faith. I have nothing that tells me who he really was as it pertains to God. All I have is the stories from my parents and my grandmother who says, yes, your grandpa was a believer. And we started looking at it going, well, in 1718, there's the story of the king writing it out, and then in some of the rabbinic translations and discussions of this, he's supposed to write out 2 of them, and one of them is supposed to go on to his children in the future. And we're saying, well, isn't that an interesting legacy? And so what we're really doing is we're really challenging parents and kids and to write it together. Even to the point that I have quite a few men now that are taking the book of Proverbs, and the dad, is handwriting the whole book of Proverbs. It's 25 to 30 hours of work. They're writing it out by hand, and they're handing it to their kids at their birthdays, at 16. They're handing it to them at their wedding day. And not only are they just writing out the text, but on the left-hand page, they're writing out all their comments to their son or daughter. They're saying, this is what I want from you. This is what I believe. This is what I think is important for life. And so now not only is the parent having this exercise of writing the text and slowly going through it, but they're thinking about it, not only how it applies to their own life, but to the next generation. And they're not just walking out of the room and saying, oh, that's enough, I had an emotional, I thought about it. No, I'm actually writing it down. And I'm going to hand that to my kids, and my kids are going to be able to hold that in their hands in the future. And if I die, and when I die, hopefully that book goes to the next generation, and 100 years from now, my great-great-grandchildren are going to be reading, this is what great-great-grandpa said. This is what he wrote. This is what he believed. And have them kind of understand the heritage and the beliefs that we had, and how important it is, and how faithful our God is to all of us. And we're really, in a lot of stuff we're writing about in Journal is just God's faithfulness. It's kind of like a little bit of a different journaling idea that we're writing it to somebody else. We're passing it on with the text. So it's been kind of fun.